This tour, apart from letting you know the different provinces from Andalusia, you got an idea as well of give you an image of the Spain of the moments of the Muslims and Christians. And 1000, let's say that in Spain, the history of what is the land of Spain, it starts 1,500 years before Christ with the Phoenicians. After it came the Carthaginians. After the Carthaginians, in the beginning of the first century, we got the Romans. After the Romans, we got the Visigoths. After the Visigoths, we got the Muslims, and then the Christians. So especially these villages we're going to visit, they got a mark from what war that time. So were the times of the fight between the Christians and the Moorish. They calculated that the Muslims were in Spain for around 750, 800 years. For example, Seville was conquered in 1248, and the first village you're going to visit was conquered in 1483. So there's nearly 200 years between the conquer of Seville and the conquer of the first village you're going to visit. So it was a long battle, it was a long and slow battle. Ahora actualmente está pintado de negro, pero en los años 30 hacía publicidad a la marca de brandy y de vinos. The pool that you see in the middle of the roundabout, it was an advertising for brandy and wines from cherry wines. There was an advertising in the beginning of the 30s. It was an advertising for that brand of wine and brandy. Called Osborne. It's very famous. I don't know if you see a brandy called Magno. There is wines from Osborne. And but on the beginning of the 80s, the Spanish government forbidden any type of advertising, alcoholic advertising in the streets. So the solution to keep it that bull as a mark, as a symbol of Spain, the solution was painting in black, and in this way no one's got the idea of drinking while they are driving. Si en algún momento hablo demasiado, mandarme a callar, sin problema. If at any moment I speak too much, just send me to shut up. I mean, I'll let you rest in peace.
Say hi.
As you can see on the right side, they started a few plantations of sunflowers. 50% of the worldwide production of olive oil, it has come from Spain. 50%. The other 50% they divided between Portugal, Morocco, Turkey, France, and Greece. So it's a culture. The Phoenicians, they grow the olive trees, and the Romans and the Visigoths, they keep it as tradition of the olive oil. And nowadays it's a culture. O sea, le estaba diciendo, perdonadme, le estaba diciendo que la cultura del olivo fue traída por los fenicios, después con los romanos y con los visigodos fue mantenido y criado, digamos, lo que es la producción de aceite actual. Se calcula que hay en España cerca de 115 tipos de aceituna denominada, o sea, denominada. So I say that there is around 100 in Spain. Just in Spain there is around 150 types of olives. Well, with dominated, so with the name, because these are the ones that are created. The average age of an olive tree, it's around 250-300 years. That's what they last, more or less. But there is one known in Israel with 2,000 years old, and it keeps giving olives.
2000.
on your right side, guys, have a look on this little castle you're gonna see over here. Aquí a la derecha, por favor, mirad el pequeño castillo que tenéis aquí a la derecha. Prestad bien atención y ahora os mencionaré o contaré su historia. So look around this castle over here on your right side. Take a good look on it, and I'll explain its history. I was saying about that castle, that little fort. I will say to you, it was very important, this battle between Muslims and Christians. All the forts and all the towers that you can see built for the vigilance, it's normally do it on the high, to be able to see more apart from that one. That one they built it under the level, because they found out a water table over there. And the water on that moment, it was a treasure. So they needed to protect that. So they built that fort to protect that water table. It's called El Castillo de las Aguzaderas, because aguzar in Spanish means sharping. So they find out that the animals, when they want to drink to this water table, they want to drink to that little river, they use the rocks from around that lake, around that manantial de agua, that water table. They use the rocks to sharp the teeth and the tusks. So that's why they give it the name to the castle, Aguzadera. Like I was saying, that 3 different provinces, 3 different rivers. So in Seville we got Guadalquivir, in Cádiz, Guadalete, and in Malaga we got Guadalacín. So most of the rivers here in the south, even that was the influence from the Arabs. Most of the rivers here on the south, they start with the word Wad, and Wad in Arab means river. For example, Guadalquivir, the translation from Arabic to Guadalquivir, it's the big river. So Guadalquivir. Even our words and most of our words and language, it's influenced by that 800 years that we had of museums here. In Spanish, I was saying, in Spain there is 5 language identified as a language. They got the Spanish, so we got the Catalan, we got the Euskera, the Galician, the Valencian, and the Catalan. For me as a Portuguese, the Catalan looks like a Portuguese or a guy from Galicia. They went to France and learned French. He went to Italy, he learned Italy, and then he returned to Spain. And they mix everything all together in one language. It's more or less it's the same. The Catalan is the same because it's on the borderline between France, Italy, and Spain with Portugal. So it looks a mix between these four different languages. Could see and hear, because we are close to the mountain, obviously it rains more than in Seville, so it's everything more greener. We got more vegetation as well around here, and wild animals, obviously, of course, y animales salvajes también.
Yo no estoy seguro de
As I was saying, there's these white villages as a way to explain how they appear, how they were created. They were from families of the soldiers, the Arabic soldiers, the Muslim soldiers. They were on that tower, so that. So they were a way that the soldiers, they were bringing their families and the providers to have close to them to do big travels. As you can see, they got the tower of vigilance and then the village. Usually is known only by Zahara, but because there is another Zahara in the south of Cadiz, it's known as Zahara de los Atunes. To make a difference, we call them Zahara de la Sierra, the one in the north, Zahara de los Atunes, the one in the south. Zahara means it comes from the Arabic language. It means rocky. Then if you look it to the landscape, you know why. You can see why, because it's a rocky area, so they call these villages the Rocky. This village is a small village. It got around approx 1,400 people that lives here. Mainly it lives from what is the agriculture and the tourism. Tourism or rural or about the sports, because normally cycling, you got cycling, there's many cyclists they're going to come training over here. You got kayak, they got as well climbing and hiking. It's a little funny story that the Christians, they actually conquered this village in 1481, but they lose it again 2 years after in 1483, and on the same year they were able to reconquer. It was reconquered by Rodrigo Ponce Leon, and the main avenue, one of the first avenues that the boulevards that we're gonna see around, it got the name of the conqueror, Boulevard Rodrigo Ponce y Leon. I was explaining that why they're known as white villages. Well, now you saw them, at least you saw a little image for what it is. They are white. They are called white villages because they are white. They're painting on white for two main reasons. The first one is because they are in a mountain, so on summertime it gets too hot over here. So, and the white color, it doesn't reflect the UV solar rays, and in your house inside it's a bit colder, it's a bit fresher. And the second is because on the beginning of the 19th century, with all the disease, with all the pandemic disease, they were in Europe and in Spain as well. They find out that the lime scale, actually they paint with lime scale, and the lime scale is a natural an antibacterial and a disinfectant. So they were protected on this way. So they didn't. They were healthier on this way. The disease wouldn't get to them.